Good evening, everyone. Welcome to League Match number 2. I am Tirasi, your restreamer, and tonight your comms are going to be handled by Bakashinobi and StormieGalaxies. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them, and good luck to all our racers. Enjoy.
Good evening, everybody. This is Stormy here.
And I'm Bakashinobi.
Ah, I heard an echo. I need to mute the stream on my end.
Sounds good. Welcome to tonight's first Zemus, or excuse me, the second Zemus Zone, Highway to the Zemus Zone match. We're getting set up, and we have our Sid start with marthsr, zilch 6, eykir, and
Let's see. So tonight's race: marthsr, zilch 6, eykir, and penguin8r. See, looks like we're going to have a Sid start. That will make the early game fairly easy because Sid is a strong starting character with high levels and high HP out the gate. Pretty decent equipment options that scales reasonably to end game. He's not the strongest end game character, but he's solid, so it's a good start.
yeah, I imagine we'll see our runners going through the early game as fast as they can, trying to hit some spots they might not go to as quickly and soon. But we'll see who their starting partner.
By the way, Bakashinobi, your voice is cutting out a little early. Perhaps you're releasing push to talk soon?
Sorry about that. I'll fix that as I go. And it looks like we are off, starting into Dwarf Castle with our second party member of another Sid. Well, this will certainly be able to hammer things down. And an Excalibur, if we find a Cecil and need to do Ordeals, that will be a very useful weapon for any Cecils we find, if we find any, because we do have the C-End flag on, which does not guarantee any party member, so there could be no Cecils to use that Excal.
Well, even if they never find a Cecil or an edge to throw it, it would still be like decent money for selling.
Very true, and there's a lot of good stuff to buy in those shops between just healing potions, which the Sids will need at the moment, and other J items such as illusions and hourglasses.
Looks like everyone's going into Baron Inn first. Very standard play. In the Baron Inn, we do see Dark Knight Cecil right there, but he's guarded by a moon boss. There will also be a second boss there. We don't know what the second boss will be.
Yeah, so that goes and puts Ordeals very present in everyone's mind, as it's usually a spot you want to skip because it's 3 bosses, a long cutscene, no ability to exit, so it's a long, slow walk in and out. But Cecil might be worth it with an Excalibur.
Yeah, Paladin Cecil is so strong.
Especially with the AA flag on, which means that Cecil will not be your forced anchor. So you can go and take one of these Sids who, while he starts pretty strong, does not get very fast and makes a great anchor.
And Starveil's available for sale here in Baron as well. This is a J item, which was present in the original release but dummied out in English. Free Enterprise has an option to restore those. Starveil's when used cast Reflect, which allow you to easily defeat some otherwise very difficult bosses. So that item is actually guaranteed in case you get a particularly troublesome boss.
Indeed, that goes and takes out a lot of the fear of going and finding an early Wyvern or an early Gulp.
Yeah, the Star Veils are not guaranteed to be in Baron, but they are guaranteed to be somewhere on the overworld. Penguin8r here, speaking of bosses, checked the boss at the waterfall, which looked like, I think that was one of the Baron guards or one of those. Penguin8r is looking for demist. We do have a flag on for no free key items. So normally there's a key item that would be given by Edward and Toroya, but with no free key items, it is given instead to demist. And would you look at that? Penguin8r has found demist on Mount Hobbs, also guarding Porum.
Well, that at least gives some healing to the party, though Porum is a bit... Oh, and he resets out right away. He probably doesn't want to go and spend the time to fight Demist at the moment, it seems.
I'm sure we'll see some runners taking care of that, so I'm kind of confused by resetting out of that, but perhaps it seems too slow or something?
I think he wants to go and find a better weapon for Sid before they go into taking on that Demist, because if you can't go and take care of Demist quickly, they will go and do the transition into Mist, and it'll tell you, and it'll take a long time, and if it takes more than 1 or 2 transitions, that's a lot of time to spend picking up a Porum who, as much as some people enjoy and love her, she doesn't get a lot of good spells very quickly. She learns Berserk at level 18, which is definitely one of her greatest strengths. But otherwise, she doesn't go and learn the very good white magic spells like Cure 3, Cure 4, until very, very late, until around level 40.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's likely we'll see them routing back towards it later.
Agreed, though eykir's definitely going and staying on that Demist right away. Meanwhile, it seems everyone else is going straight into Antlion, fully clearing it out, finding some nice goodies, and going to find the boss, who is a Mylon.
Yeah, Antlion is very rarely ever a dangerous spot, and in this case we see both Penguin8r and Zilch using J items to deal AoE damage, just attack items to clear it out a lot faster.
Indeed, both Zilch and Penguin8r getting the Oh My Body attacks at the same time, neck and neck, waiting to go and see what their rewards are for this fight. And it is another sword.
Masamune, only usable by Edge, but very strong if you do have them.
Yes, though Edge is going to be a bit more difficult to find because the of this C flags, the N that doesn't guarantee all the characters also means is paired with the X flag, which doesn't guarantee, or which means that Edge and Fu are guaranteed to not be in these 2 free spots. So they might be around some.
Right, CX I think it is, means that you can find Fu and Edge, but because they are more powerful starting characters, they will always be in a spot that requires at least 1 key item.
And we just saw Sirens for sale in Toroya, which allow you to summon the rarest encounter and is very good for grinding certain high experience fights. They're used very commonly in the Lunar subterranean to fight 2 gold dragons, and in the underground to fight a yellow dragon egg to get extraordinary amounts of experience for the effort.
Mm-hmm. There's a similar one with Liliths on Mount Ordeals. It's less commonly seen, but occasionally done. Penguin8r is checking the Toroya treasury, not the entire thing, but looting some items here.
I wonder if he's looking for more J items because his party is not... He could also be looking for weapons as well, to be honest, because his Sids, I think, are still using wooden hammers, which are... they're a good weapon for start, but you really want to go and upgrade to something that's a bit stronger and has a bit more heft to it, like an Earth Hammer or an Ogre Axe. Finding a strength ring in Silveria bushes, that's going to go and be helpful as it gives +5 strength, which can start noticeably increasing your attack multipliers.
marthsr here is turning in the demist check, and we see it is a package. Okay. So I always find this hilarious when package is connected to demist somehow. So apparently Rydia's mom is carrying the package for burning down her own village. And marthsr is going to immediately check it. I did not. That went by really fast. I didn't see what the package character was.
It was a Rydia. Rydia was being guarded in her vanilla location by the package held by her mother. I guess you wanted to make sure Rydia stayed home.
Interesting, interesting. I like Rydia, but as a character, she's very hit or miss. She gets her black magic spells slow compared to Palom, and her good summons are tied to items, which are not guaranteed to find, so depending on what you find, Rydia can be either very powerful or kind of weak. I like her, but she's hit or miss.
Yeah, she's definitely an investment to get, and while there is the Hobbs Flag on where you can get a random summon, it's not going to go and be one of the top tier Leviathan or Bahamut summons, so it's really hard to go and justify going through that long cutscene to pick up Rydia when you know where Demist is, and you can't even hope on the troll of, well, maybe I can go and get this weird long shot boss and get a Demist for an extra key item.
Zilch is doing the Fable defense here, so we'll see what this boss is and see what the item is probably as well. And it is Baigan invading Fabul. Not too much problem here. His arms will respawn frequently, but they probably should be able to deal enough damage for it. Since it's mostly physical, its wall doesn't matter much.
Yeah, and Zill's using a firebomb to go and take out the first set of arms. Those are based on Sid's or the user's HP, which Sid has a penguin8r also finding his package. We're going to see if he's checking it, and while Martha is going to also start his wagon fight. And eykir is going in, checking his character as well. Is he going to show us the package? No, he is not going to show us the package straight either. Which, for those who are unaware, there's a fun little Easter egg if you go and open the package with a hot flag on, and, well, you might kind of go and take a look at it yourself sometime.
I didn't catch the item from Fable. What was that one?
I unfortunately was missed it myself. Maybe our tracker can go and fill. I see we have a ninja setting in Kaipo, so we do have an edge to use all these nice weapons we found for. And it's a rat tail in Fabul, which, when we get the hook, we can turn that into a key item.
I see. This seemed off to a slow start so far, and someone said Edge is in the bed in Kaipo, so if they find the Sand Ruby, they can put that Masamune to work. Oh, I'm not always sure the exact cadence I should put on Masamune.
I'm sure anyone will go and tell you whatever you say is going to be right. Some people like to go and say Masamune, some people like to say Masamune, some people like to go and say that sort of.
Or it could be like my cousin when I was a kid who pronounced it Mazmoon.
I think we all went and made that mistake when we were young. So we see more shopping going around and more general flying around. I wonder where people are going to take their next spot, because we know that Baron Inn has a moon boss blocking it, and Ordeals has a lot of bosses, and will turn that Cecil into something very nice.
See, we see penguin8r here going to the Baron Inn, so this moon boss is pale dim. Not too bad. Physical attacks, counters with slow, has various other counters as well, but they don't really matter to this party at the moment.
Indeed, looks like Sid's making short work of him, and we get to see the next boss very soon afterwards, which is a Golbez. Well, at least Baron sells Starveils.
Ah, I like this. Cecil and his brother hanging out together.
Golbez really wants to make sure that no one's going to go and pick a fight with his little brother today.
Yeah, as is mentioned in chat, Starveils were for sale here in Baron, so the players do have a means of Reflect to get through Golbez. He attacks only with magic, so Reflect makes him much easier.
Yep, though the lack of magic power in the spot might actually work against our runners, because the big spells he's going to be throwing, while dangerous to our Sids, not necessarily dangerous to Golbez, and that means they have to chew through all of his HP on their own.
Right. And even when you do have Reflect, he's still known as Trollbez because his cutscene is so long.
And chat is pointing out that we have a forced Ordeals because Golbez cannot block the only way to the underground.
Ooh.
So with Golbez and Baron Inn, Antlion not giving a key item, Mist Dragon not giving a key item, and Fabul giving a rat tail that we cannot turn in for the Magnet Key because we would require the hook. Okay, well, maybe we can technically turn into the Magnet Key, but we would need to go and have one of those, source one of those items elsewhere.
Yep, and we already see marthsr climbing Ordeals, so we'll see what the bosses there are shortly. By the way, on Zilch's screen, I saw that illusions were for sale in the Kaipo Inn. Illusions are a J item that cast Blink when used, allowing you to dodge physical attacks, which can be very helpful against physical-only bosses, of which there are quite a few.
And Supremacy...
Go on.
I was just saying, Supremacy was very kind to point out that Golbez could still go and block Magnet Key, and Ordeals could have the hook. And penguin8r taking a wipe to Golbez. That is very unfortunate for him. And going straight back into the fight, it seems.
At Indoto, it was 2 Sids as a start. It wasn't a package start, it was Excalibur, and package came from D-Mist. D-Mist was on Hobbs.
Oh, and we have a Dr. Luige fight in the first spot of Ordeals. Not really posing much difficulty to Marth, and I believe his Sids are doing some extra damage because Dr. Luige is considered a machine and takes extra damage from hammers.
Yeah, Dr. Luige is generally not too difficult of a boss in general because he takes the HP that a spot has and splits it over multiple forms, so he tends to be relatively weak. Although in this case, we have Fabul Gauntlet on Ordeals, and Ordeals is forced, so that's going to take quite a bit of time from our players slogging through all of these battles. In fact, both Luige and the Gauntlet on Ordeals. Ordeals is the location of multi-stage bosses. I hope we get a Mom Bomb in the Crystal Room.
Oh, the Mom Bomb would be the perfect role for this because all of these Gauntlet fights are back attacks, so they get to take extra time. Lots of, waiting for your turn to come up, lots of announcements of you're being attacked from behind for the 5th time in a row. You're still surprised.
Yeah, I am very excited to see what the key items from these locations turn out. We have 3 players fighting Golbez right, and yeah, the low magic power in this spot. Golbez's Reflected Fire 2 doing only 182 damage.
At this point, I'm waiting for the item in Ordeals to go and be Twin Harper Earth Crystals so that our lovely runners can spend even more time above ground wandering around very slowly. Because while Ordeals does have to go and lead to the underground, it does not need to give that item to the underground right away.
That's right, and chat mentioned that Golbez could still be blocking Magma Key, and Ordeals could be leading to Hook, because Golbez is guaranteed to not be blocking underground access, but there could be 2 means of underground access here on the surface. And we see that Golbez rewards the Twin Harp, so we will be getting music tonight.
And Martha's...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to note that Martha's still getting through this fight very slowly, though. There's not... it's just a slow grind for him, unfortunately.
Yes, yeah, chat already getting hyped from music. And I see Dusty Griff came in with a raid of 9 people. Welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoyed tonight's Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Highway to the Zenith Zone League race.
Penguin8r taking a stop in Mysidia to go and check out the shops to see if there's anything of great importance there. Cabins, those are definitely helpful. Kamikazes, which, well, with that Twin Harp, you can go and make some special use of that, as the first time you go and fight the boss in that location, you're forced into the Dark Elf encounter, who will not go and be able to be defeated by any means, and the only real way to progress is to either let him go through his full script or terminate your party.
Penguin8r having the harp, but checking Ordeals first. This might be due to the boss strengths, since even though Ordeals has a lot of bosses, the harp check, the Magnus Cave, is going to be a more difficult boss, most likely.
He also knows that, supremacy again, pointing out that this is the way to the underground, and he's got an Excel and an Excalibur. He probably wants to go and let him hold that sword that he's currently saying is a bit too bright for his taste.
Yeah, Cecil will definitely make the Twin Harp boss a lot easier. And we have the hook on Mount Ordeals.
Terasu, you're such a kind, generous soul, giving these runners this absolute joy of a siege. The viewers thank you.
Viewers love hook seeds, players don't, because there are 2 means underground. One is to get the magma key, go over to a Gart and drop the magma key in the well. This gets you instant, easy underground access. The other option, the one we have right now, is the hook. And the hook is much longer, much more difficult, has an extra dungeon, 2 bosses. It does get you another character check and some more shop checks, but it takes a lot more time, and there are some bosses that can really troll you at those spots.
Oh yes, and it seems that Marth is going to have the advantage now, as everyone else is going through the Dr. Luigi fate, while he is finally done with the joy that is the entire set of this encounters.
No kidding. Like, this Ordeals takes a long time with these multi-phase encounters. But, you know, at least all of our runners will have to do it, so it's frustrating, but at least you know you're not behind.
I wonder if Penguin8r and eykir are wondering, actually, Penguin8r, eykir, and Zilch all have their Twin Harps. I wonder if they're wondering, should I go and check this first in case it gives me another way underground? Because this might take a bit. I wonder if any of them are going to reset out and just say, you know what, I'm going to gamble that the gauntlet isn't giving me my only access, and there's a rare magnet key instead.
Yeah, it looks like we don't have any of our players checking the harp before Ordeals. I mean, Ordeals is a good play for powering up Cecil. Well, it's a good play if, it weren't for Lugay and the Gauntlet being here. Those are going to take a lot of time. But we don't seem to have anyone gambling on the Twin Harp having Magna Key yet.
I'd call it a shame, but I don't blame them. Oh, sorry.
Marth is picking up his hovercraft, though, so he will check the hook things soon.
Indeed, he'll get to go and see what that rat tail he got from Kabul will give him, and he'll go and see what character he can get in Evelyn Cave. And he's going and looking into the rat tail first, and I don't blame him, because that can give him a magma key, and he might be able to just walk underground rather than fight through the gauntlet that is King Queen Evelyn spot. And
well.
All
Disappointment in chat soon. That is a magna key, so we are going to skip the hook dungeon and the Rubicante boss spot.
And this is going to probably delay music for some people, and it's going to take Martha away from music, I think, because he can just go underground without needing to go through that Baron Inn segment.
That's right. Hopefully for him, the harp doesn't hold anything important. It could hold moon access, it could hold legend sword, it could hold adamant, all of which we need to complete the game.
Indeed.
I'll say that even if we're not going through Upper Babel, this is still a hook seed in spirit, because we still had a forced Ordeals to get the hook to get the magma key.
With a back attack gauntlet, which is everyone's favorite spot for the gauntlet, just after anywhere that doesn't involve, well, anywhere. Marth's going and picking up some mute arrows, which he found in Mist, which very strong arrows are definitely going to go and help him bonus damage against any mage-type enemies as well. And now it seems like he is going to head down to Agert and drop off his magma key.
Well, much paranoia pointing out in chat that penguin8r does not seem to have completed Fabul defense and thus does not have the rat tail. He might actually go through Upper Babel.
That would definitely be unfortunate. I imagine people would be very entertained seeing him go through that, whatever terrible, terrible bosses are blocking the way underground, while everyone else just walks underground through that magma key.
At Rivers McCown in chat, D-Mist cannot be at Rubicante's spot because D-Mist was on Mount Hall.
And penguin8r taking no chances, safety saving after that extra fun gauntlet.
I can't blame anyone. There's always the tiny chance you could find Wyvern here. The boss in the crystal room is very weak, only has about 1,000 HP when the others in the area have 4,000, 5,000 such. But there is still the occasional boss like Wyvern that controls you here.
Yep, though I think Wyvern would be excluded because this is the only way to the underground. He would go and get excluded for this fight, but it could still be other very unpleasant bosses. Mom Bomb would be the most particularly annoying one, though Karate is Well, Karate's going to go and be guaranteed easy, as he only needs to go and be hit twice, or hit my Cecil after he kicks twice to go and instantly win the fight.
Yeah, I'm amused, but yeah, I was going to say I'm amused by Karate being here in the mirror room, because Karate actually has a special script where he insta-dies if he's hit twice by Paladin Cecil, and specifically Paladin Cecil. Otherwise, you'd have to run out his HP. It's not much at this spot. It's just, I find it funny to see this interaction right here immediately after getting your Paladin.
It most certainly is, though. Marth did not have that option because he did not have his Cecil at that point. But Marth is going and checking the Famer chest, and that is a Bahamut summon, which, well, he knows where Iridia is if he really wants one.
Yeah, I don't think I would, like, even with Bahamut, I don't think I would go and sit through the whole package cutscene, although it could prove me wrong.
I would definitely agree with you. Bahamut is really nice and very strong AoE, which the party is lacking at the moment. But it is a good long time to just sit there and wait very slowly to get a party member.
You know, without timing it, I wonder what is the comparison of checking the hook character, Eblin Cave, versus doing the package. If you're like picking up the hovercraft, flying over there, walking in just to check character and nothing else, I wonder how the time cost of that compares to package.
It could be similar, though. Eblin Cave will give you a gated shop, which will have, because this is the S2 flags, gated shops are more likely to have higher tier items such as Bacchus wines, coffins, other strong, good, usable items that they might want to find. And I believe this team is going to want to find a good number of Bacchus wines.
Mm-hmm. Penguin8r does remember to go check Fable Gauntlet, so most likely he's going to check out Rat Tail as well and skip the Upper Babel. marthsr looked at the bosses in the Feymarch. The bosses in the Land of Summoned Monsters are apparently either Rubicante or Elements and a Moon boss, so not easy ones down there. They could hold the key items, but you're not likely to see those checked yet.
Indeed, I did see a Moon Veil in his inventory, so I think he was toying with the idea of using that to cheese one of these bosses. But of the Moon bosses left, there aren't many that can go and be cheesed with the Moon Veil. Only the D-Lunars could really be cheesed by them, but we see Eykir flying into the Cave Magnus.
Oh yes, get your headphones on because we'll be having music very soon. Meanwhile, Zilch is checking Eblin Cave for the character, so we'll see who that is as well. We'll also get to see who would have been the boss at the Rubicante spot. Rubicante spot has 20,000 HP, very strong for this part of the game, which is part of why players fear Hook Seeds so much. So we'll get to. So Zilch might breathe a little sigh of relief to see what he doesn't have to fight.
Indeed, he's probably looking forward to seeing what he gets. And Mom Bomb is not the worst boss there, but Yang is not the best character to pick up in this situation. He does take a fair number of levels to start really comparing to the damage that Cecil and even Sid can go and put out right now. But Marth is going into the Dwarf Castle fights.
I want to say Yang is kind of the inverse of Sid. Yang is kind of weak early, but he scales very well to endgame because his stats are based entirely on his levels and very little on equipment. Wyvern in Dwarf Castle just instantly mega nuking Marth's party. That's gotta hurt.
Well, on the bright side, it wasn't the second boss, which would have required him to go through the whole fight. And I see that he He did previously go to Baron Inn, but he did not go and finish, I'm realizing now, because he does not have his Cecil. So that's something I don't know if he's going to come back to at some later point, or if he's just looking around for some other things to take care of.
Yeah, it looks like he might be challenging Wyvern again. If he can get a Starvale up in time, it'll make it a lot easier. But I'm about to be quiet because we are going to have music on very...
To answer Night 2's question, I've not seen this curse ring on any of these characters, but we did see sirens. They were in Troya. And our music for tonight is Dr. Mario, it seems.
Specifically Fever and not Chill. Everyone remembers Fever. Very few people remember Chill.
Eykir even going out of his way to go and show the name. That, our chat. For those of us who didn't go and know the name, we appreciate you. And it's Bahamut guarding the way to the crystal, or to the, what was the Earth Crystal in the vanilla game that the Dark Elf stole, but to the key item in the Cave Magnus.
Bahamut is one of those reasons why Starvales are guaranteed, because otherwise Bahamut could be difficult to impossible without reflect. Bahamut will count down from 5 and then use Mega Nuke at the end, and then Mega Nuke is massive damage. Fortunately, the Mega Nuke countdown is the only thing Bahamut does, so with good Starvale use, you can make the boss much easier.
Indeed, and you can also go and cheese this boss if you have an Edward or a Kane who can hide and jump respectively to dodge that Mega Nuke, though hide or jump takes a fair bit of timing.
And eykir picks up the Legend Sword for it, so required music tonight.
If anyone was mad at Terrasu, they have even less reason to be mad at him now. We've got required music.
Currently in our flag set, we have V1. Normally, in order to defeat Zeromus, you need to find the crystal in order to make him vulnerable. On the V1 flag, instead of finding the crystal out in the world, the crystal will be forged by combining the Legend Sword plus the adamant at the blacksmith Bokols. So, eykir has found one component of Go Mode. Unfortunately, Marth is checking Baron Inn, so Marth is going to get his twin harp and won't miss that out. Zilch actually challenged the Moon Boss in the Fey March, and it was Ogopogo, affectionately known as the Nope Rope, or non-affectionately because Ogopogo is a very dangerous boss.
Indeed, and that spot is fast, it has extraordinarily high physical attack, and is probably not something you want to go and fight fairly in any real capacity. That does not sound like a fun place to go to anytime soon.
Chat pointing out both Ordeals with its Gauntlet and Baron Inn with its Golbez are mandatory, but that also means you wind up with a guaranteed Paladin Cecil.
With an Excalibur start even, it's like the seed is demanding that you go and take Cecil out to just destroy everything with the Holy Sword.
Yeah, a pretty linear seed so far, not much divergence in route, so mostly execution tonight.
Indeed, it's definitely not compared to last night's seed where you got Magma Key and a Darkness Crystal very quickly, where it's just, here's the world, try and find the 2 key items you need out of all these options. Gear 3s are in Baron Castle. Those are some very helpful items, which our runners may elect to go and use, as Form can sometimes be very hard to bring up to sufficient HP, just 5 big bangs in a Zeromus fight.
All right, two more fresh meat coming in for Wyvern. We'll see if either of them can survive the grind.
Meanwhile, Marth is making his way over to Twin Harp Cave to get his music and his legend sword.
Penguin8r gets that star veil up. We'll have one character survive, so hopefully the second boss isn't too hard.
Indeed. I believe someone mentioned that there might have been a heroine row, which is what allowed Forum to get her star veil off so quickly, so she might be in a bit better position to survive the onslaught of whatever this next boss is.
True, and the experience from Wyvern will help her as well. And second boss is Odin. We do get an edge. We do get an edge for our troubles, though.
That is certainly some level of backup to just beginning after that very, very mean fight.
Yeah, fortunately an edge here is a very good get because he should be able to drop Odin without too much trouble.
And that he does. Odin goes down, and we get to go and see the lovely, scary hand slowly creep towards the crystal.
Eykir here doing a mini grind. I saw Penguin8r doing that earlier. I wanted to comment on it, but it got lost among other things. Marth is about to give us an encore on music. Eykir at the bottom left is using sirens to summon eggs. There's a small peninsula you can use them on to find these yellow dragon eggs that give 34,000 experience. Very fast and very easy relative to when you can get it. And music encore.
Meanwhile, Dwarf giving the Sand Derby, which is another edge, so this is the double ninja cat.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you have two edges like that, it's very difficult to find enough equipment for all of them.
Indeed, using two swords each time, it's kind of hard to go and fully get them out and make good use of multiple.
People making double-edged puns in chat. Oh, I love it. It's such edgy jokes. I love it.
I see we're reaching for the edge case scenarios where this is still. Meanwhile, we have people going back over similar ground. Penguin8r going down to land to summon monsters. Marth doing and finishing up the Bahamut fight to get his legend sword. Zilch going to pick up that edge so he can go and have a double edge party.
Very nice. And we'll see where the runners go next. There's not a whole lot of options available right now.
Yes, I think the biggest things left to check are Keyless Tower, which is a very slow and long climb. The Sheila 1 check, where you go down to the bottom of Sylph Cave, talk to Yang, and walk all the way, go back to Fabul and walk up to the tower to talk to Sheila, Yang's wife. And then there are those bosses down in Feymarch, which Penguin8r is going back to take a look at and see if he wants to go and play with any of them. And it looks like he is going for Ogopogo. He is not going and just resetting. He is deciding, yes, I will go and fight this terrible, evil Nope Noodle.
Looks like Marth is doing a mini grind as well, so that's 3 of our players having done that.
Knowing those student bosses down in Feymarch, I can see people just wanting to go and get some quick levels. They can go and get a lot of experience very quickly, get some good levels on Cecil, and he is a lot better equipped to deal with whatever horrors are down in the Feymarch, which Penguin8r does not seem to have succeeded in his fight against.
Penguin8r immediately reset when his Cecil got smacked for 1,000 damage. Despite the pack row, this spot does a lot of damage. You wouldn't expect it because in the vanilla game, Leviathan only uses magic in big waves, but this spot has a lot of physical attack, which for anyone who doesn't know, I've talked about spot stats before, but the stats of bosses scale to the spot in which they are found, not based on the stat. So the bosses will have scripts based on who they are, but stats based on where they're found. And as I was saying, both of the summoned monster land bosses here have very high physical attack. They can just chew right through your party, even with single target physical.
Yeah, and Ogopogo has that very, very mean big wave, which does AoE damage based on the percentage of the character's health who is being hit. So the first he opens with 2 big waves, which will do 50% of each character's maximum HP and damage with no way to mitigate, unless you get very lucky and they dodge that big wave.
Mm-hmm. Penguin8r using a bunch of buffs to make the fight more manageable. Blink to dodge physical attacks, slow to slow down Ogopogo's ATB, because slow works on every boss in the game. It's very powerful. And also reflect on Cecil to bounce the slows so that you do not eat a counterattack from Ogopogo for casting magic on it. That's one of the things that makes Ogopogo so dangerous, why it's called the Nope Rope, because it counters any magic attack with Blaze, which does almost as much damage as the big wave.
And it looks like that the reflect that Cecil has is from a Moon Veil, which grants the barrier status, which is immunity to all physical attacks, which is why whenever Ogopogo swings at Cecil, he misses.
So yeah, Penguin8r committing to this play, using a lot of resources and buffs that just makes it slower, but, makes it actually manageable.
Cecil is doing good damage. He's doing 2,000 to 3,000 damage a hit, which is going to chew through this spot, which only has about 32,000 HP. Not too long, he's going to go and be able to survive it thanks to Cure 2 potions, and is making head. Meanwhile, Zilch is going and getting his Legend Sword while he goes and has music.
Yeah, Penguin8r just holding on here while the other runners mostly retread ground we've already seen. Penguin8r does take down the Danger Noodle, and for his troubles gets the Darkness Crystal. Ooh, that opens the moon, that opens a character there, a shop, but it also opens a whole lot of bosses, so that could take up a lot of time.
And he has not done Twin Harp yet, which leads to his Legend Sword, which could lead him further away from that.
Yeah, oof. At least the darkness crystal is moon access, which is one of the things required to finish the game. Since besides a way to make Zeromus vulnerable, you also need to have a way to reach Zeromus. Either this means you get the darkness crystal, which in vanilla was just a plot token. In Free Enterprise is converted into a coupon to unlock the lunar whale and fly to the moon. With that, you can just run down through the core to reach the final boss the intended way. Or in Free Enterprise, there is an item called the Pass, which in vanilla was just a little Easter egg item for a side area in Toroya, but for Free Enterprise has been converted to a shortcut to Zeromus that doesn't give you access to moon bosses or item checks there, but it does give you a route to the final boss if everything else you need happens to be on Earth.
Indeed, and eykir is taking his shot at the Nope Noodle, though he is relying very heavily on those illusions, and we're going to see how well his fight goes. Meanwhile, penguin8r is getting trolled by the true evil masterminds of Kaipo, the NPCs, locking them in there and telling them all their terrible stories.
Oh, yes. Final Fantasy IV has so many NPCs running around in pretty cramped spaces. It happens all the time. Eykir is challenging the Asura spot, which is revealed to be elements. There are two bosses that use Rubiconte's map sprite. One is Rubiconte himself, the other is the elements, which is all four themed. The four themes, they will cycle through the four in order based on how much damage you deal, and it's possible to skip half the fight with sufficient burst damage.
You can also do reflex strats to go and prevent them from transitioning between phases and just leave the fight in the Mylon stage and never progress to the Rubicon stage, because the transition is a counterattack, which you can dodge with that. It's not really a viable option for this party, it seems, because of how little magic damage they can get. They would just be trying to reflect Cure 2 damage.
And Cecil with his Excalibur is doing decent work anyways.
And he does make it through a very dangerous phase of the fight. Rubicant will go and cast Fire 2, Fire 3, and then Glare on your entire party, which, if you get past Fire 3, that Glare is going to hurt.
I think the phase changes on elements here are taking up some of elements' turns, which with Cecil's DPS output is actually making the fight less dangerous because Cecil's just rushing through before they can pose a threat. And yeah, eykir took it down without too much trouble, and for his efforts he gets a ninja shirt, and that's all. Nice equipment for Edge, not much else.
I'm sure it has some fans, but I don't think that fan is eykir today. Meanwhile, we see on the moon there are silk webs for sale, which are very helpful. They will go and cast slow on all enemies in the fight, and is a very good item to have for the Zeromus fight to go and slow down Zeromus and give yourself a bit of a speed advantage.
A particularly interesting thing about silk webs is when you cast slow the spell, you can actually stack it twice to increase its effect. Using slow from silk web, the item actually does both casts of slow at once, so it's a very strong item for weakening bosses.
Indeed, and we get a Palom on the moon, which is the second Black Mage, the first one in a much more accessible location. Palom is a favorite because he goes and learns Quake very quickly, and, well, that's one set who's out of the park.
eykir is doing the single pan check, talking to Yang without the pan to go talk to Sheila. So single Sheila check, I should.
And penguin8r is
Yeah, you were saying.
I was just saying, penguin8r is diving down to the bottom of the lunar subterranean without checking the Keltem spot to go and get to the higher density of the ribbon spot, plague spot, and ogopogo spots, and wyvern spots down near the very bottom.
There are different schools of thought about how to route the moon bosses. This is one of the more common ones, which is to dive to the save point as soon as possible and check the highest density of item location.
And Rivers is pointing out that Marth has some very serious levels at this point. I'm seeing that his Cecil has 2600 HP, Sid's are in the 3000. These are some pretty beefy characters.
Oh yeah, Marth has been doing a lot of grinding, and that kind of escaped my notice that Marth is quickly approaching endgame levels. He may just be committing to this specific part.
It's definitely a very powerful thing to go and be able to walk into fights, berserk your fighters, and let them destroy everything.
And Eykir gets just a defense sword from Sheila 1, so that's not progression. It's an okay weapon, but Cecil has better already, and we don't have more Cecil.
And penguin8r has found Plague on the moon, which I believe he's checking the wyvern spot, unless missed this correct.
Yes, it is the wyvern spot here, which is not one people usually check first. Wyvern Spot has a bit lower stats than other moon bosses due to the difficulty of the Wyvern's script itself, but Plague does not scale with stats whatsoever. Plague just uses count over and over and does doom on your whole party. In this case, penguin8r has reflected one of these counts, and probably isn't waiting for Plague to die, but might be.
It looks like he threw a Silpov on Plague, which guarantees that, and he is kamikazing Porum, so he is making sure that his character with Wall is going down, and he is reviving his characters to get another count back up. And the Silk Web serves the purpose of making sure that Plague is not relative agility 1. If Plague is relative agility 1, you can go, and the system kind of needs a little bit of time to go and catch up to everything, and if it never goes and gets that opportunity, then count can never wear off, which is good for you if you have a low agility anchor and just have your berserkers going at it. Bad if you're trying to go and reflect count back onto Plague and get him to die, because sometimes you can go and sit there and wonder, it's been more than 10 counts. Why is Plague not dying to his own count? That, for the record, is why.
I think Plague's count gets set very high or something. This strategy is rarely seen, but it is a viable way to take down Plague. Reflect the death back onto him and wait. Meanwhile, eykir is checking Keyless Tower, and in Lugay's lab we find Dark Imps, which is a free boss. We have not seen many free bosses in this seed.
That's true. They could be all hiding on the moon, or they could all be hiding in spots that you don't need to go. That is definitely something that we'll have to keep an eye on, and eykir is taking advantage to life glitch them to get some extra experience, while Marth is taking his very buff team and going straight at the elements. Meanwhile, penguin8r does not seem to be having success with that reflected count where successfully taking out Plague. I don't know if he's going to be trying a different strategy or if he's going to keep trying to make this reflected count work.
Right, and we have a white robe at the top of the tower, so as far as I know, I think eykir has exhausted all of his options, so it looks like the only progression is to go through Ogopogo and get your Darkness Crystal.
I am sure he is not enjoying that prospect. He might go and take a page from Marth's books and start grinding some eggs to get himself a bit higher level, because that fight it's not nice. Zilch, however, has gone and gotten through that Ogopogo fight and is unlocking his Lunar Whale and heading to the moon with a Legend Sword, which is going to put him in a little bit better position than Penguin8r is, because once Zilch finds the adamant, he's just going to come back to Earth, board his crystal, and go straight to Zeromus.
At Captain Phoenix Jones in chat, Ogopogo has Darkness Crystal. Yes, Ogopogo is found at Leviathan spot. Very difficult boss for required progression in this.
And Penguin8r is still going at Plague, doing whatever he can to go and try and make this reflected count work.
Indeed, eykir is doing more egg grinding before taking on Ogopogo. Marth is doing Ogopogo right now, should not have much problem with all those levels.
Here's hoping that, his Porum has Cure 3. That is going to go and definitely give him a pretty solid advantage on that fight. Porum does go and learn Cure 3 late. Ooh. And as I'm talking, she goes and unfortunately takes another punch to the face, which is not very good for her. Not very good for...
Yeah, Ogopogo's still doing more damage than Porum has max HP. 1560 versus her 1429.
Porum, we love you, but you really need to go and work on your HP pool. We kind of need to rely on you and not fold into the first.
And Penguin8r finally takes down Plague and for his efforts gets the spoon. So it's a key item, counts towards bonus experience later on, and Edge can throw it for damage. Might help in taking down one of the other bosses here.
That it could. Let's see, Penguin8r is getting closer to that 10 key item line, but still seems to be a fair bit away. And something that I have done in the past is gone and just reset out of moon bosses to keep my spoon after I fought them, but he might not want to do that because that experience is going to be pretty valuable for him.
I think at that point I'd be like weighting a cost-benefit analysis of like how much time do you save by getting the spoon back versus do you spend by losing that experience?
Inven is pointing out that we have not seen very many of the fetch quest items, as they like to be called, with Earth, Crystal, Baron Key, Tower Key, Luca Key, and Pan, all not accounted for.
Right, they've all got to either be here on the moon or be part of a chain leading from the moon.
And the adamant could be behind one of these items, so it could be a very long, detailed rabbit hole that sends you all across the world. And we have the Kaipo guards fight at the ribbon spot, which is, that is a very nice thing to find. That is a free fight, and you can go and get some easy life glitches off to go and get some extra experience, which he might very well want.
Penguin8r combines a coffin and a life potion on the captain here. There's an interesting glitch in this game where if you use a life potion, or Phoenix Down in free translations, if you use a life potion on an enemy as it's dying, it revives with 0 HP and instantly dies again, essentially giving you a double kill and double experience. Doing that on a boss spot like this will give a lot. So we were talking about using moon bosses to grind. This is a good example of it.
And Marth coming straight here is going to go and be able to get that experience right away.
I was going to say the reason why that life glitch happens is when you use a life potion or the spell Life 1 on someone, the amount of HP that they get revived with is based on their vitality stat, except all monsters have 0 vitality, so Life 1s just raise monsters with 0 HP and they immediately die again.
Indeed, and if you've ever gone to use Curse Ring and found a character not getting up after you use a life push on them, you found the same thing, because if you have a character at exactly 15 vitality and use the life potion, or use the Curse Ring, they have 0 vitality as well. And the ribbon spot giving a Leviathan summon and an Avenger. Well, Cecil just looks looks even better now.
Yeah, there is a glitch. There's a minor glitch you can do where if you switch to the Avenger in mid-battle, you get the permanent Berserk status from Avenger, but keep the stats and element of your previous sword. So you can basically combine Excalibur and Avenger to have permanent Berserk with its speed and damage bonus, along with the power and holy element of Excalibur, making for a very powerful combo.
Indeed, and to see that Marth has gone and fought through Ogopogo and is making his way up to the moon, while penguin8r finds Kanizo at the plague spot. Not the worst spot you can find Kanizo, but he's certainly not the friendly face you want to see here.
Yes, Kai'Nazo's big wave damage scales based on his HP. So at an end game location like this, Kai'Nazo can be very scary. I think the plague spot has relatively low HP for the moon, so like you said, it's not the worst place to find it, but it can still be a challenge.
Indeed, though, both Zilch and penguin8r are making good use of the Thor Rages they previously bought to turn off that big wave and scare away the...
I believe this is a relatively recent change in the randomizer that Thor Rages will be guaranteed in an overworld shop somewhere, specifically to give you an option for dealing with Kai'Nazo if you find him somewhere like this without a mage party, because otherwise just constant big waves in your face can be very painful.
That they will, though if you don't have J items on, then you are fighting Kanizo without these lovely Thor Rages, unfortunately.
And we do have Palom in this seed who could cast Black Magic directly, although Palom is, lower level than everyone else due to having been found right here on the moon, so... And Zilch didn't even keep the Palom either.
I guess he figured he'd rather have a Sid, and to answer Eagle Falcon's question, Legend Sword was behind Twin Harp, which was found at Baron Inn behind a Peldim and Golbez.
Marth here is checking Cave Bahamut at the west side of the moon. It's very disconnected from everything else on the moon. So people like to joke about value at Cave Bahamut, but doesn't look like that's where our value is today, because Zilch has just found the adamant at, I believe that was Plague Spot. So that puts Zilch in go mode. Zilch just needs to get the levels to be able to defeat Zeromus, and then he's ready to go. penguin8r got the adamant, but penguin8r is still going to be searching for the Legend Sword to complete it.
That indeed, which is very unfortunate for penguin8r, because that is back on Earth and he is very far away from home.
Right, we immediately see Zilch bailing on the moon, going back to get his crystal. penguin8r, on the other hand, continuing to dive. Eykir's heading up to the moon. Hopefully Marth does not get led down a rabbit hole by whatever he finds here at Cave Bahamut.
Indeed, because we only have 2 unchecked spots on the moon and 5 different key items that we can find. So there is a pretty long rabbit chain or rabbit hole to go and be found up through these key items.
Marth does get a crystal sword from Cave Bahamut, Ragnarok in later versions. Crystal sword is basically Excalibur, but even more, so not progression, but it does make his Cecil extremely buff.
Indeed, it goes and turns Cecil from mostly overpowered to completely and utterly overpowered in a very absurd way. And penguin8r fighting Octomam in the Ogopogo spot, who at this point, I believe this spot must give either Earth Crystal, Baron Key, Hand, or Tower Key, or Luca Key, and then it leads into that chain, which will end in a pink tail.
I don't think anyone has checked Pale Dim Spot, so there could be something there still. Marth might check that because Marth went to Cave Bahamut first. Tags is eykir. So, Penguin8r fighting Octomam. The Ogopogo spot has very high stats, but Penguin8r looks to be doing a good job against it.
Yep. Octomam, definitely a very hard-hitting boss, but when you go and take hits on him, he starts losing more and more tentacles, which slows him down and reduces his physical attack strength, which will go and make him a lot more manageable, even in a dangerous spot like this. And Zilch appears to be... he needs to do a bit of grinding, but he is not doing that grinding on Earth. He is coming straight back to the moon and going back down after forging and picking up his crystal.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question, Garrick, is yes, but in order to get to Odin's spot, we will need to go and have the Baron Key.
Yes, by the way, Zilch is at 10 key items, where reaching 10 key items gives you a double experience multiplier, so Zilch is in a very good position here. Meanwhile, Penguin8r gets just an Artemis bow from the Ogopogo spot, so Marth finds D-Lunars at Pale Dim Spot, and D-Lunars hold the start to a chain. Hopefully Marth does not get sucked down into it.
Indeed, he might go and see No Dot Duns and decide, hey, I want to go and... I'm in this to win this. I want to go and find whatever I can, and if no one else goes here because everyone likes to go straight to the bottom, I might be able to go and find that adamant first before anyone else, and he is going to be led terribly, terribly astray.
Well, there's the potential for it.
And eykir is picking up his crystal sword to go and make his Cecil even more powerful. It's still amusing to know that this seed absolutely, positively did not allow you to go through it without getting a Paladin Cecil after giving you the Excalibur to start with.
And one thing I wanted to say about the crystal sword find, finding a crystal sword doesn't mean that Excalibur is useless either, because Edge is actually able to throw Excalibur where he cannot throw the crystal sword. So Edge throwing Excalibur is almost as strong as that spoon.
Indeed, and we see Zilch going and doing a life glitch on the gold dragon fight on the moon, using a form with Artemis arrows and a heroin robe to chew through their HP. So he is going to get some levels very quickly, and he's going to be ready for Zeromus very soon, I think.
Yes, the Artemis bow and Artemis arrows get quadruple damage against dragons, which, of course, gold King Gryus are gold dragons. Thus, you see little old Porum doing a good 4,900 damage, dropping them very fast. Zilch is also using the life glitch that we talked about earlier. Each King Gryu is worth 30,000 experience normally, doubled to 60,000 by 10 key items. When you take down 3 in one fight, that's 180,000 experience, leveling up very, very fast. You can reach Zeromus levels in just maybe 4 or 5 fights. And that is playing it safe, being cautious.
Yeah, though they may be cautious because Porum is their white mage. And Porum does not have that great HP growth compared to Rosa, and Fu, even though he doesn't get many stats from leveling up, he does end up around 1900 HP once you finish, so Zilch doesn't really care about that, though. Zilch thinks, I'm going to be able to go and destroy Zeromus. I don't need to worry about Porum surviving multiple big bangs. So he is going to go straight on his way, while Marth did find the pan at the Pale Dim spot. And I do believe...
Go on.
But Marth is not going beta by that pan is coming down, but I do believe there is a very important question to ask tonight.
Who is Whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? Zilch will answer that for us in just a moment. One thing I wanted to point out before it leaves is on penguin8r's screen, you can see a fan favorite strategy with D-Lunars. After several turns, D-Lunars will use Bad Breath, inflicting a lot of status effects on your whole party. But Bad Breath can actually be reflected in this game, so you can reflect it to turn the D-Lunars into frogs themselves. It is one of several ways to handle D-Lunars, and it's a fan favorite.
And it's certainly something that wasn't very commonly known before Free Enterprise, because that was a big discovery in last year's League, was knowing that they could go and use those star veils. And penguin8r is now exiting out of the lunar subterranean after full clearing it. And Zilch is going into his Zeromus fight.
You're at 1 hour, 13 minutes, 20 seconds on RPG limit break. So one of everyone's favorite Easter eggs in Free Enterprise is the Z flag, which is almost always on anytime you see someone playing this game, which randomizes the sprite of Zeromus. His stats and script will always be the same, in part because Zeromus is so dangerous, they want it to be consistent. You can't put Zeromus anywhere else. But we'll always get a new butt to kick every night, and tonight, I don't know if we can. All glory to Hypnotoad. All glory to Hypnomus.
I see nothing wrong with all glory to Hypnomus. And Zilch is going straight in, just giving everyone wine and turning on the blender.
Oh, we had frogs two different times in this scene, both D-Lunar frogs and now Hypno.
I wonder if penguin8r is going to think the frogs are out for revenge when he comes to Zeromus.
Yes. I had to point that out after Nwame583 pointed that out in.
Meanwhile, penguin8r is doing some grinding on the moon. I believe he has 10 key items himself, so he's thinking, all right, whatever it is, I need to go and be at Z level, so right away, once I go and finish this, I can go and get straight to Zeromus. While marthsr is going through the officer-soldier fight, and eykir is fighting that Kanizo. If he gets through there, he will be rewarded with his adamant and in go mode himself. I see that Zilch opted not to go and berserk his Sid and seems to be going and relying on him to throw cure potions in the event that Forum doesn't go and handle these big bangs very well. Which, if another one comes out, Forum with only 1500 HP is unlikely to... Oh, okay, she's not even going to go and pretend to be a white mage right now. She's drinking some of the wine herself and going in and joining the fray.
Oh, Zerker Forum. I know we have some people who are fans of that strap. With only 1500 HP, Forum was almost certain to not survive a Big Bang unless you nerf it. Nerfing Big Bangs is a strat that requires good timing, but basically the way it works is when you cast magic on Zeromus, he'll counter with Nuke, except because Nuke's damage is so high, the game actually reduces Zeromus's magic stat for it. If you time it right, you can reduce Zeromus's magic stat right before he uses Big Bang and make his strongest attack weaker, reducing it from like 2000 damage to maybe 800. But it takes good timing, you still have to deal with a counter nuke, so we may or may not see that happening tonight.
Yeah, I think Zilch is laying out enough damage where he's going to skip one of the Big Bangs because Zeromus has a special feature in his script And yes, he has gone and skipped any Big Bang Beyond the First, as we are in the medio phase.
Oh, so zilch will be done very soon. So what happened here with Zeromus is very similar to what I said happened with eykir and elements earlier. I think it was eykir. That by chewing up, there's the flash, there's done. Zilch has finished with a final time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 38 seconds. GG to Zilch.
Indeed, very good race from Zilch. That is a very, very solid time, and everyone, eykir knows what's up. He is going straight out. He's got his crystal. He is going to be heading straight back to the moon. Marth, I believe, just finished up his Kanizo fight, and now penguin8r is looking for where he needs to go, because he needs to go back to that twin harp, but he has a pan that might lead him astray.
Mm-hmm. Now, we may get some metagamings. Perhaps the early finish will lead penguin8r to not check that lung chain and go back for Twin Harp, since it was available very early. We'll have to see what happens.
Indeed, he's got to make the right call, and right now he's got a pretty much heads or tail coin flip to decide where to go. And looks like he is going to Twin Harp, because that is not the way to the underground to turn in that pan.
Well, let's see if we can get Zilch in here for an interview soon.
And here's Zilch. GG, congrats on your first place finish in this match.
Thank you.
How did you feel about that Zeromus?
I felt pretty good going into that fight. I didn't really think anything would go wrong except for the occasional Big Bang Meteor combo, but didn't seem to happen, so.
Indeed, you seem to...
Talent or forum.
Yes, we were wondering if you were going to go and be trying to protect Forum or just be going full on, and you had Sid just giving out cure potions to keep everyone alive while the child who is supposed to be the white mage is just...
I figured that would be more fun. Once I saw the arty arrows, I was like, yeah, we should do this.
So what are your thoughts on the seed? Any standout thoughts?
The seed itself seemed pretty linear, I guess. I feel like I did everything except for a keyless tower, and then you're gonna find the adamant.
Yeah.
I almost forgot the twin. Not that forgot, but the twin harp was almost accidental. Not doing it could have ended really poorly, I guess.
Yeah, from our commentator position, we can see that most of the key items were locked behind a long chain at the moon. There would have been the pan at Pale Dim spot, which would have led to a whole lot of things. I didn't see it in your ending, but everything else must be behind the pan, because we saw everything else checked.
Yeah, like I said, the only thing I left on Earth was keyless tower, so.
Yeah, and we even saw that. It was a white robe at the top of the tower.
I'm happy I skipped that. I don't know if anyone saw my twin harp screw up on the way there, but I think I left Dwarf Castle the wrong way. Had to go back through because I didn't have exits. Heal in the pot. Then I proceeded to heal by picking up the second edge, and then I went to the twin harp with a full health party. This level plays right there.
Yeah, that one escaped me, but hey, congrats on your win.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a roller coaster of a seed, with Golbez blocking Baron in, no other key items being found until you went to Ordeals, which had the back attack gauntlet. Twin
I'm
Harp,
not a fan of that.
Oh, but we all were. We thought it was such great fun to see you go and be surprised with the same fight 3 or 4 times in a row.
That's one of the few times where I definitely make sure I save before going into the Ordeals final boss, I guess.
You are not the
I
only
have
one
no
who
desire
did.
to do that twice.
I certainly don't blame you. I will do the same thing.
I By the way, how did you feel about the required Ogopogo at Leviathan?
I feel like I had that recently in another seed, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been considering we had Excalibur going into it. I definitely wasn't going to do it on my first try. I figured I'd come back with a little more levels.
Yeah, the absolutely required Excalibur Cecil is made a lot of this seed's troll more bearable because you got Excalibur to start. Baron Ian and Ordeals were both required, so everyone has that paladin.
And we started with the Excalibur, so as long as you weren't short on cash, you had that with you.
Mm-hmm. Well, GG, if there's anything else you need to say, we'll hear it. Otherwise, we can see you next time.
Nope, just thanks for commentary, restreaming, tracking, and the whole tournament organization. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully it stays that way. So thanks.
Thank you.
And the rest of our runners are on their way. It is a race for second place now. Eykir is going into his Z fight. Marth is almost there. Penguin8r did learn from the dot done and went right for Twin Hearth instead of checking the chain from the pan. So Penguin8r is going to be the last one down to Z, but he's on his way.
Indeed, and eykir is just starting the fight. Marth is coming in right on his heels. I don't know who has more levels at the moment, but this is going to be a very close fit. Penguin8r is going to need a wipe from one or both of them to go and get a better placing, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our three runners are staggered when they're getting into Zeromus, but Zeromus is not an easy fight, and it can easily go wrong. This is a pretty strong party, but there's a lot of time to be gained or lost here.
Indeed, and I see that Marth has Hallam, who does not seem to be at the level for Nuke, so he's not necessarily going to be able to do much this fight, and Porum is at higher levels than Zilch had, but these are still dangerous HP values. Also, while we're waiting, is a good time to go and say a special thank you to our tracker, It's Paranoia, and our restreamer, Tirasu. Thank you both very much for all of your assistance and being able to let us put on this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely a team effort. There's a lot going on behind the scenes as well. We could not run this league without lots of people participating.
And Marth is nerfing a Big Bang with a heal potion.
Interesting. So, Marth taking the time to keep his forum alive. Hallam taking a nap, though.
Hallam's a bit of a loudmouth. He doesn't have nuke. I'm sure we can go and afford to let the kid take it. Penguin8r opting to choose to do no additional grinding and going straight to the Zeromus fight as well. So we'll see how that goes for him. Marth reviving his Palom. I don't know if he is bluffing with Palom, so maybe he's planning on having him throw out some spells. Porum and everyone is waiting for Porum's turn to heal up, while eykir he's sitting in some very safe HP levels, but I don't see a nerf coming out for him, so he might be going and just getting ready to revive Porum if she goes down. To answer Captain Phoenix Jones' questions, any spell you go and throw at Zeromus, including a heal potion, will trigger a counter nuke. The exceptions are White and White and Meteor, which are holy spells, which trigger a weak counter instead of nuke, which is not nerf Big Bangs, and Bahamut, which will counter with.
Is it specifically Bahamut? I thought it was any summon.
Right, sorry, any summon. And eykir, there is the flash. eykir is finished in second place with an SRL time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 1 second. GG to eykir. we'll see if we can get him in for an interview.
Marth should be very close behind, while penguin8r is just starting his Zeromus fight. Pretty close finishes for all of our runners tonight. Zilch was ahead by 10 minutes due to checking less things, good routing, but everyone else, very close. Like I said, it was a pretty linear seed, more execution than routing.
Yes, though penguin8r's choice to skip Twin Harp did end up going and costing him a fair bit. It's not an unreasonable choice because that is a rather long check. When we have the moon open to you, those are much more appealing spots, but it just did not work out for him.
Yeah, the moon has a higher density, but sometimes Rando's gonna rando. At least he did catch up and not get caught in that rabbit hole.
Yes, very good work on him to not go and be baited by that pan. And we are seeing rocks falling on Marth's screen. That is, he might have half his party down, but he's got Cecil up, who is probably going to go and take it out. Hopefully, that's some pretty low HP.
Rocks falling on Marth's screen. Marth is in Meteo phase. The Meteo phase happens when Zeromus has less than 10,000 HP or so. Zeromus's Meteo is very weak, basically his last gasp, and Marth is finished with a final time of 1 hour, 28 minutes, 54 seconds. So, slightly less than 2 minutes behind eykir.
That's a very solid finish. That's a very good time for the siege, and penguin8r is going in. He's throwing out reflected nukes, and we are joined by eykir. GG and welcome, eykir. Congrats on your second place.
Thank you, Bakashinobi. That was fun to see.
Yeah, how did you feel about it?
I felt good early on, Stormy. It was like getting all the melee stuff. I think the lack of weapons for Sid really hurt the beginning game, but not much because Sid still deals a lot of damage anyways. But once I was able to get the Cecil on the two edges, then they just stormed through everything.
Yeah, there was a lot of chat. There was a lot of item checking in early game, looking for better weapons for Sid that were never found. But at least we had guaranteed Excalibur Cecil.
Yeah, that's why I took early Ordeals. I'm sure probably a lot of people made that play just to get some offense going. I almost felt bad about passing up the Iridia at package, but I think the team turns out well still.
And Marth has joined the channel as well. GG to Marth on your third place finish. How do you feel?
A bit frustrated about that brain fart, thinking I had the pass for some reason. That kind of cost me second place, so I'm kind of mad at myself for that one.
Oh shoot, that happens. But hey,
Yeah.
this lesson's to learn for next time.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But other than that, I wouldn't say 100% trolly, but there are some points where the seed would just troll us big time. Like Wyvern at Dwarf Castle, what was that?
Yeah, or the required Ogopogo, or Fabul Gauntlet or Ordeals. A lot of things.
Yeah,
music.
Oh, sorry?
At least we got music.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, that's good. But, yeah, the gauntlet, the mandatory gauntlet was at first, I thought, big waste of time, but turned out it was required. Other than that, what really stood out from that seed? Not really much. I mean, it's pretty cookie cutter seed with the legend on Earth and the adamant on the moon. Aside from those little trolls, this was a pretty normal seed.
Yeah, I do like the absolutely guaranteed Excalibur Cecil, because you got Excalibur for free. You had to go through both spots to make Cecil, so there were hard bosses in the seed, but it also gave you the tools to deal with them.
Oh, absolutely. And to top it off, Bahamut had a Christmas present in the Crystal Sword. So you don't say no to that.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about the hook from Ordeals leading to, and the rat tail from Fabul giving you a magma?
I felt relieved, really, because most of the practice seed that I've got for this flag set were hook seeds. For some reason, hook seeds are very prevalent with that flag set, so having a break with that, with the magma key, was quite the relief, I must say.
I imagine that that was a funny break after your torturous ordeal.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I mean, you get the hook at first, then you figure, oh geez, I'm gonna have to go through the whole Eblin tunnel and all of that. Then you go, okay, might as well go check the rat tail, and lo and behold, you don't have to go through Eblin tunnel.
Mm-hmm. And welcome to Penguin8r, GG. Oh, fourth place finish. How do you feel tonight?
A little bit disappointed I came out in fourth, but it's understandable. I made some mistakes early that probably costed me, and I think I was probably the only one to full clear me, I would guess.
No, Marth and eykir also cleared most of the moon. Zilch, part of the thing with the moon is there was this big old chain from the pan at Pale Dim Spot, which fortunately nobody got sucked into that chain. So even though you three did clear most of the moon, it didn't hurt you too bad. For Penguin8r, one of the things that got to you was not checking Twin Harp earlier, since that's where the Legend Sword was. One of those times Rendo's gonna Rendo,
Yeah, it's kind of something that happens. I felt behind already mainly because of dying to Golbez. So I thought I kind of needed to make a play, and then thought the darkness was a pretty good result, making that play in Ogo, but wasn't enough, I guess.
You were the first person to go to the moon, so that was a lot of people were struggling with Ogopogo and avoiding him as long as possible. I think, I believe you also avoided Keyless Tower, which resulted in just a white road.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing for Penguin8r, I was worried at first about how you had skipped Fabul and did not have the rat tail at first, but you did remember to go back and check that before going through the hook, and then you got the magma key from rat tail, so that was a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I put Fabul off because I had seen the Cecil and Baron and Xcal start, so doing the combo of Baron and Ordeals was going to be the biggest increase in my damage, so I wanted to get that done before Fabul, and it helped with Fabul to just have an Xcal Cecil ready to take out Baigan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Cecil certainly was very well prepared and handed to you to just destroy this seed. Do you have any other thoughts on how the seed...
Nope, just thanks for commentating, and GG to the other racers.
If I can say one thing, a compliment, even if you did take last place in this particular race, I do like the decisions you made towards the end, like skipping the pan. That prevented a lot of even more time loss, so you kept it pretty close even to the end.
Thank you. Yeah, I did figure once I saw Zilch that Twin Harp was more likely than the pan, given how quickly he finished.
Yeah, I think aside from Zilch, our other three players were all in the Zeromus fight at the same time. The other two leaving it as you were entering.
Well, I think with that, if no one else has any other questions, I believe we should start wrapping up. Thank you all again for racing. It was a very exciting race to watch, a very tense, lots of fun and amusing trolls to see. And thank you all again for coming out.
Yes, thank you for putting on a good show for Twitch chat tonight. Thank you for coming. Good luck to you on your next matches. And thank you to everyone who tuned in, everyone else who helped make these streams possible. This has been StormieGalaxies and Bakashinobi on Highway to the Zemus Zone, and we'll see you next time, probably here again on RPG Limit Break.
Yes, I believe, let me go and pull up this information very quickly. We have a race. I know we have a race coming up on Sunday, but I'm trying to go and get the exact date of the next Highway to the Zemus Zone. I believe that is, give me one.
Yes, we have a lot of races scheduled not every day, but frequently through August. So if you liked the content tonight, tune in next time, and we'll have a lot more in the near future.
Yes, the next race that is scheduled for July 28th, this upcoming Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and it'll be it's going to be on the Free Enterprise Restream channel.
Okay, so not all of them are going to be on RPG Limit Break. But we'll get things connected and make sure that people know when and where it's going to.
Yep, if you have any doubts, you can always go to the Free Enterprise Discord, and that will go and give you all the information you need to be up to date on all the latest comings and goings of Free Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. And you can also come in there to make seeds. You can come in there to. Well, you can make seeds at the Free Enterprise website, but you can get the link to the website from the Discord. You can also chat with the community, get help, learn how to play the game yourself if you're interested.
And Invin is correcting me that there is a match tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. I apparently misread the schedule, and I am sorry.
All right. Yes, we have a match tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely come check that out. We're going to send y'all on over to Woof Jebster, so give him a check. He's running out some free enterprise. Thank you, everyone, and I hope to see y'all next time.
Till then, bye-bye.